Well, looky here. Look at what I found here. My pot of gold. I mean, how else are you supposed to start a video a couple days after St. Patrick's Day? I mean, come on. This time around, we're going to be talking about friend. Frankenstein? Friendships. Alright, well I hope you all had a very festive and fun St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's definitely one of my favorite times of year because it's March and it's John Bon Jovi's birthday on March 2nd. So happy birthday, John. Happy belated. I'm sorry I didn't send you that postcard. I know that things haven't been great between us, but it's all good, man. It's all good. I mean, a lot of cool things are happening for you now. You know, the re-release of This House Is Not For Sale. And #1, everybody. Yeah, there's nobody in here. Yeah, the release of the 2 new songs and the fact that you guys are finally getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Awesome. Anyway, back to this. We're going to be talking about how to keep friendships, how to make them last. Just because throughout the last couple of years I've noticed and I've learned more about my own friendships of co-workers and stuff like that. It's a good subject to talk about. So, first and foremost, do you need friends? Seriously, just ask yourself, do I need friends in my life? No, you don't need friends. It's something that we want. There are many things in life that we think we absolutely need, but we really don't. I mean, it just comes down to 3 things. If I remember this correctly, it's shelter, clothing, and food, sustenance, stuff like that. I mean, those are the basic human needs. Everything after that is kind of like a bonus, like, oh, this is good. Those, I think, should be considered riches. Having a great group of friends, buddies, you know, girlfriends, all that kind of stuff. It's definitely super important. It can be very vital to facilitating you achieving your goals. Let's get down to it. How to make friendships last. I mean, I'm sure you've found yourself at times where you talk about some friends behind their back because you had a problem with the way they said something to you. Like maybe they just said something in a weird tone that wasn't their normal way of speaking to you. You're like, whoa, what was that about? And then you talk to somebody else about it, one of your other friends who may or may not know that one specific friend you are talking about, and you vent about it. I mean, venting is definitely not a bad thing, but if you don't return to that person who you're venting about, I think it only makes that friendship toxic because you're not discussing the issues that you have. Who knows, that person might have issues with you too, and they're not talking to you about it, they're talking to their friend or their family member about it. It just creates a divide within that friendship, within that bond. And it's terrible because, you know, it is wonderful to have friends, and especially friends that you can have for years and decades and all that. It's definitely rare, and I think it's rare because people just like to talk shit, and they never come back to actually fix the issue. I'll give you an example without naming names. A couple years back, a really, really good friend of mine, I mean, we've known each other for a very, very long time. He has a terrible case of ADD. It makes him only a greater person because of it. Because he has so much energy and he always shares it. So, but there are, you know, many times where, you know, he's talking to me and, you know, I'm listening. We go a couple back and forths here and there, and then, you know, I start discussing something with him. There will come a time where he just kind of like fades away because he gets into his own thoughts regarding something, thoughts from the day, whatever. And at first I would continue talking, but then I think it was like a couple of weeks went on and it would continue happening, and I just realized it's just, you know, it's the ADD. So sometimes I would just snap him out of it, like, hey, all right, listen here, talking. Or I just started just looking at him, and just I would stop talking, and then to see when he would actually notice that I stopped talking, and it worked. And then he would be like this. Oh, dude, it's so funny. So that, you know, I never got upset with him about it because it was hilarious, but I did that so that he would notice, oh shoot, I'm not listening to my buddy. Especially if, I mean, usually, you know, it's either something silly or sometimes, you know, it's serious stuff, but yeah, it's just learning how to listen. Whether you're talking to a friend, whether you're talking to a girlfriend, boyfriend, mother, father, coworker, boss, I mean, not Bruce Springsteen, but it's so important to have eye contact, because then you know you have that person's undivided attention, especially if it's somebody that, you know, is important to you, you care about, you know, vice versa. It's so important because when you don't show eye contact, or your body's not positioned in the person's direction, or you're doing something, you're texting, you're on the computer, you're watching TV while the person's talking, it just shows them that I'm not really listening to them. I'm really fixated on this task at hand right now. If that's the case, if I'm trying to speak to somebody and my buddy's watching TV or writing something, you kind of like make like an introduction to it. It's like, hey bud, I see you're busy with something. Would you mind if I could talk to you? Do you have a few minutes? Or just let me know like when you're free to chat, because I could really use like somebody to chat with. I think that's a better approach, because then your friend won't be like, fine, okay. I think if you warm them up to it when you're able to, I could definitely use, an open ear when you have the chance. So then that person feels like, okay, cool, well, I can finish my thing now, and I'll tell you, yeah, man, 30 minutes from now, good? I've got somebody coming over, but maybe like at 8 o'clock tonight? Something like that. Open lines of communication. It just makes things so healthy for the bond, for the friendship. Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to. I mean, other things, I think other issues kind of build upon the lack of communication. What am I, like a kangaroo? Yeah, so just make sure you keep open lines of communication. I mean, in any relationship, open lines of communication, so important, so vital. Everything else is just the consequences of not speaking, holding back, being afraid of that person judging you because of sharing your opinions or whatever. Like, just talk. Just get it out. I mean, if you don't, then that person's not your friend, and you're probably not that good of a friend of theirs. Then move on. And a big thing that I've noticed in the last year or two, I mean, as technology keeps advancing, their phones. I mean, I remember when I had my first phone, it was like a small piece of crap Nokia phone. Didn't flip nothing. It was just a long, looked like a tiny little brick. But yeah, I mean, remember those days where it's like, oh man, I could text my friend during my science class. You just wanted to talk. But still then, I mean, the lines of communication were pretty close back then. I mean, Facebook came around the year after that, so like 2004 or something like that. Well, at least where high schoolers can get on there too. But yeah, I mean, you know how many friends like probably don't say anything. I mean, it's like, hey, you didn't text me back. I think we get so lazy because I'm not in the mood to text him back now. I'll text him back later. Days go by because we're all so busy. We're so preoccupied with our own things, which is important. But then it's like watching the next show. Oh, I gotta go. Meanwhile, it's harder to maintain those friendships. So if your friend texts you, your parents or whoever, get back to them. I mean, you never know what kind of day they're having. So or sometimes even just reach out to them when they haven't reached out, because hopefully you miss them, right? But yeah, I mean, that's how people have friendships that last until their golden years, which are now 60s. I don't know, that thing keeps changing. If there is a topic that you want me to discuss in the next video or the next couple of videos, definitely leave a comment. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, and let's just get the conversations going. All right, let's talk live. Have a good week.